This is Let's Talk Big, the big read with Jane Berger and Jen Hazel. The Owens Community College Campus Big Read is taking place now and throughout the semester, with the goal of bringing awareness of different perspectives through books. The Campus Read book is A Little Less Broken, How an Autism Diagnosis Finally Made Me Whole by Marian Schembari. It's the story of one woman's decades-long journey to a diagnosis of autism.
Welcome to Let's Talk Big. I'm Jen Hazel, and I have with me Jane Berger, an aspiring psychology student, Kendra Wampler. Welcome, Kendra.
We are so happy that you're here. Thank you very much.
So, Jane.
Yes.
Do you have a passage?
My favorite question in the world. I do. We're about halfway through the book here for this passage. It's on page 123, kind of toward the bottom. Whenever I thought too hard about it all, the breakup, the move, the new job, the same effing feelings I'd had since I was a kid, my head crackled with dizziness. Nothing would ever change. I was always going to be like this. I wonder, Laura said, then paused, as if searching for the right words. What? I pressed, desperate to hand it all to her, desperate for her to fix me. Have you read the book, The Highly Sensitive Person? No, but I've heard that phrase before. Well, what do you know about it? After I graduated college, I joined a women's group in New York, and there was this woman, Erin, who kept talking about being highly sensitive, but she seemed kind of cuckoo. Laura jotted a note in her yellow legal pad. In what way? Oh, just like she was looking for a reason to be special. It was all like, I can't sit with the group. I need to be farther away because I'm a highly sensitive person. Or, can we dim the lights? It's giving me a migraine. I'm highly sensitive, you know. Laura looked at me for a long moment. Do you think she was perhaps making accommodations for herself? I blinked. Making accommodations? What do you mean? Well, for a highly sensitive person who finds being around too many people agitating, sitting away from the group might have allowed her to participate without exceeding her own capacity. I wonder what might have happened had Erin not disclosed, but sat separate from the group without saying anything. If Erin had dimmed the lights, then sat in the corner by herself, I really would have thought she was rude. Okay, I conceded. I see what you're saying. We can't win here then, can we? I love this. Actually, I just reread this again today while we had our internet outage. But have you ever heard of, or what do you think of, I guess, when you hear the term highly sensitive person? What does it kind of conjure in your mind?
Someone who gets easily annoyed by like noise and colors and touches or something.
Okay. I think of my middle daughter who, when she was younger, would be upset by anything. Oh, that girl made me mad. Oh, that girl didn't let me do this, or that person didn't let me do this. I'm like, oh, goodness. It's going to be a tough life. My oldest daughter, you know, as only older siblings can do, she would say, life is tough, wear a helmet. And I realize now that probably was not the best advice. But that's what I thought of when I first read this. So this passage was really good for me to, again, get out of my brain and the way I think of things and be open enough to think like, oh, I never would have thought of that. She really was trying to be her best advocate because, you know, Lord knows it was difficult to find an advocate for somebody, you know, who was different from others when this was taking place.
She's talking with a therapist of hers about that. And so often, and what's interesting about this to me is, well, and the author goes on to talk about this, and I don't remember if it's later in the chapter or if it pops up later when she mentions it, but she goes on to talk about how that women who were often labeled like highly sensitive, actually many of them now are receiving autism diagnoses.
Yes. Yep.
What I think is interesting is they're equating that there in the discussion there about it being like sensitive to like external
stimuli.
Yes. And I've often heard it also used in terms of like the way you described it with, yes, with your middle daughter, just the so sensitive about feelings. And what is sensitivity anyway? It's a varying degree, like,
Right.
of, yes.
Right.
But, so that's interesting that it's being described there. So I just think there's something that is highly, like,
Well, and it's funny, I realize now that when I read this as though I was listening to my daughter. Did you hear how my tone kind of got a little
yes.
whiny? I should have read it a little bit more fluidly with less snarkiness, I guess. I could say, I can't sit with the group. I need to be farther away because I'm a highly sensitive person. Can we dim the lights? It's really giving me a migraine, and I'm highly sensitive. I mean, the whole tone can kind of change your perception also, and I'm thinking she probably said it more of the latter than the former.
Right.
But I had never heard of this, and then looking into it a little bit further, it's known as HSP, highly sensitive people or person. It's not really an official or formal diagnosis, though they do need to make accommodations for themselves. And like you said, as long as people were dogged in being their own advocates, they were later probably, some of them, if not many of them, found to have a diagnosis of autism. But, how many times can you be told by different people who are professionals, you're all right, there's, you're just this or you're just that, giving them different labels along the way.
well, and in some ways, a therapist friend that I have would probably say that was a lazy diagnostician who did not, I could not get that out.
Diagnostician.
Thank you. That did not take the time to keep investigating what that would be.
Right.
And what that might look like.
And as we read through the book, and of course I can't remember if it was, I know there was some instances of it prior to page 123, but I'm pretty sure there's instances, also. But that's what I was finding with Marian's experiences, is that she got a lot of maybe lazy diagnosticians.
Sorry, I did it.
It jinxed me. And she was given, well, you have Tourette's, and you have this, and you have that. But none of that seemed to be fully accurate. Maybe part of it,
Well, and one thing that I learned when my son was diagnosed from going through the process of getting that autism diagnosis is that it is a rule out of compared to rule in.
Yeah.
In the way in which it's done. So it would seem like if there's similarities to other
Right.
that it might be this, and because it's different than
having an ear infection that you can see. This is what you have. We don't have to rule anything out.
Or seeing
we
a blood
can
clot.
See it.
Or
yeah,
seeing,
we can see.
Right. So it's hard. Like, and that would be a different. Like, you went with what.
Well, sure, you're trusting the professional. So here's a teaching moment for you as a budding psychologist or psychology major.
Here we are.
Put this in the back of your head. So if you are a practicing clinician one day, it takes you time to get to know your client. So you can't just say, on the first visit, oh, I think you have this. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some time to get to know that person. So, diagnosis isn't going to come immediately. So just keep, as Jen said, keep plugging away and getting to maybe what the root is, rather than being, as your therapist friend would say, a lazy clinician.
But so, Kendra, tell us a little bit more about what strikes you with this book, especially given, because before we started Kendra was telling us that she picked up the book on her own, so she has heard about what we were reading and picked up the book. Because I asked what class she was using it in. Yes.
Yep.
So, of course, the warm and fuzzies come over Jane and I. But tell us a little bit about what made you pick it up
Well, I'm only on chapter 2.
Well, that's okay.
That's all right. But you know what the overall
Well, she
theme
tells you
is.
in the, you're not
Yes.
giving anything away because
Correct.
she tells you in the prologue.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I didn't really know what the book was about at first, and then I started reading it, and it made me learn a lot because I don't really know anyone that has neurodivergence.
Okay.
So it was very educational, and it makes me wonder how many of my friends are going through it without saying anything. So like now I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
are you going through something?
Right.
Makes me more hyper-vigilant about the people I'm around and my family.
Sure, that's great because that's been my experience as well. Just kind of wondering, or I'll see people come into the library and just kind of see their movements and things. I go, because nobody's wearing a sign that says anything, and it's not a visual like if someone is going through chemotherapy and they may not have hair. We have no clues. So it's kind of interesting. It's very fun. To just be people watch wherever you are. I wonder.
Kendra, one more thought for you before you go. When you were saying that you were being more hypervigilant and people around you, is it because you feel, is it because you feel empathy, or that you've started to be more aware after reading some of what the author has said?
I've become more aware because some of my friends get really overstimulated very fast, like with like chewing and like lights being too bright. So I'm like, oh, maybe you're going through something.
Yeah.
Or they're struggling with No, that's super, super insightful. It is probably why you were on your way to studying psychology. But that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much, Kendra, for coming.
Of course.
So on behalf of myself, Jen Hazel, Jane Berger, and Kendra Wampler, keep talking big.
This has been Let's Talk Big. Catch Let's Talk Big anytime on the RSS feed or the Owens Outcome Plus YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. Join us again for Let's Talk Big, the big read.